And hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Build, Paint, Play. I'm Dave.
I'm Jake.
And we're going to be talking about board games today, which will be pretty sweet. Should be pretty good. Do you think
For
so?
sure.
This was Jake's idea, so hopefully he's really excited about it.
Yeah, I know. There's so many good ones to go into. So.
Cool. So just quickly, I'm going to something that I should have done while the intro was starting. Is I'm going to not do that. I hate it when I double click on a window and it disappears. There we go. I will share this in the group. And we're live. There we go. Post to Facebook.
What are you doing, like the video?
Sorry, yeah, I was just sharing the sharing the stream. Sorry. We'll get there eventually, folks. We'll get there eventually. So, excellent. And now this is where I ask. So Dave Hummel is on. Greetings programs. There we go. Perhaps it's going to become the thing by default, Jake.
Yeah, that's my favorite. Greetings programs. That's my go-to.
Hey, Scott. Nice to see you. Is everything sounding and looking okay? Does it all sound good? Does it all look okay? I'm hoping that we've turned on the mics at the right time, all that sort of fun stuff.
It looks like mine's working. I got it. It looks like we're going now. I can see it. I'm just trying to read it, make sure that we're actually live. But yeah, it looks like
everything's good.
It is indeed working.
Hooray!
I'm going to move this slightly so I can read the comments without having my screen be the laggy one.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
Doesn't look like... I'm not seeing any lag here, so fingers crossed it's only on your end.
No, it's all good. I have to like move the... I have to move the camera around depending on what you show because I don't see it unless I'm watching the stream.
Ah. Right.
And then if I watch the stream, like we're time delayed, so I gotta be kind of creative in my desktop layout. But
sure, yeah, that all sounds fine. You might need several other screens for us to do this properly.
Scott, am I still laggy now, or is it better? He said I have a little bit of lag. I'm trying to see if it's.
It's not too bad though. It's not as bad as it has been in the past. So, I think we'll just push on with it.
Uh-oh. Dave said he's seeing it as well.
It might just be Jake.
It might just be that I am delayed.
You tend to have a lag.
I'm on a lag. I'm really tired.
Fantastic. Boo to really tired. That'll be all that moving, all that working, and all that not sleeping.
Yeah? It never ends.
Never ends.
It never.
Nice. Well, I'm going to take this opportunity to remember to do it up front in the show, to ask everybody to like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of fun stuff, basically so that we can continue to grow the channel, mainly so that we can continue to reach more people, get more folks in the chat, see a whole bunch of excellent ideas being shared around the community, all that sort of stuff. And, of course, join our Facebook group. Just type in Build, Paint, Play. Or ask one of our wonderful folks to invite you along to it. So I will try to remember to come back and do that at the end of the show as well. We'll see how we go. But first up, I wanted to jump into a hobby update. What have you been up to in this past week? What after you've moved into your new house?
So I actually got to do a little bit of hobbying this week. So I built another 6 more Mark 6 Marines, and I built one of the Terminators. I started the other 4. I started the new Praetor, the other Praetor.
Okay.
I've got my chonky boy with the claws, and then I started the other one. I found an old, I think it's from one of the old like 3rd edition metal Inquisitor models. It's the guy who has it looks like a sledgehammer, and he's holding it up near the head, and it's the arm like this. So I just have that fist.
Okay.
So I'm going to swap it so he's holding the Warhammer. Right. Because he's an Iron Warrior. I don't want him having a sword.
Sure.
And then Plus, I have that thing where you can upgrade it for a like gravity maul or gravity crusher,
Okay.
It's like an Olympian weapon that the Iron Warriors can have, so I'm going to do that. I'm still looking for a servo claw. Like I want like a big old school chunky servo claw off his backpack.
Okay.
So I'm just trying to find one.
Yeah.
But until I get that piece, I can't glue the backpack on, which means I can't do the case. So I can't finish until I get that piece. But there's a kid in my shop who plays Mechanicus, and he's like, I might have some power claws. I was like, that'd be great.
Yep. That'd be super cool.
And then I was showing you. I brought home the heresy box, so I can hopefully work on that some more tomorrow on my day off. And I think that's it for my hobbying.
Cool.
There's a building stuff.
Yeah, building stuff. That's good. That's cool. I'm excited to see this Praetor with the hammer and the claw.
He should be fun.
Yeah, that's good. Jeff has joined us. Good day, Jeff. And yes, it looks like the lag is slight. Super livable, says Scott Soldier on.
Yeah. According to Dave, I'm using my phasing powers
Yep.
to just knock myself out of phase.
Yeah. If you start to fade out,
Yeah.
That'd be
yeah.
super-
I've used it too much.
that'd be super scary. Yep. My hobby update. Last Wednesday night I played a game of Dracula's America.
The skirmish game. Okay.
Skirmish game, yep. It's from Osprey Games, it's a very cool game. It's a very interesting set of mechanics. Starting to get right into how to play it and how to maneuver it. But at the moment, I'm still borrowing warbands from our host Eric Salin. So he's got like 4 warbands, and there's a couple other guys who are playing in the group who also have warbands. But yeah, so I think we're starting a campaign pretty soon, and we'll go through and be able to improve our fighters if they don't die, which means that generally I'll be in trouble because mine die every time. But it is a cool game.
Consistency. That's what we shoot for.
Yeah, exactly. And then on Saturday I played 2 Horus Heresy games.
How'd those
Pretty
go?
cool. It was great, yeah. The first one was 3,000 points of Word Bearers against 1,500 points of Blood Angels, 1,500 points of Iron Warriors.
Both my armies, so hopefully they won.
They did, and the victory points after 5 turns was 1-0.
What?
I know, it was crazy. There was I can't remember the name of the scenario, but basically there was an objective that I had to get to in their deployment zone, and there was an objective that they had to get to in my deployment zone, and that was where the bulk of the points were. Neither of our warlords died. They got a point because they killed 1 more unit than I did in the game, so that was the only victory point. So I killed 8 units, they killed 9. So it was a pretty crazy game. But I ran Lorgar. Lorgar transfigured, so he had the corrupted sort of ability and all that sort of thing. So I planned to run him in with my Gal Vorback in the Spartan, and pretty much the first shot of the game, the Spartan was immobilized.
Wow.
Yeah. So
what did they hit it with?
The las cannon array from the Deradeo or Deradio.
Yeah, I love it. The Deradio is like one of my favorites.
Yep. So yeah, las cannon array from that was like boom boom. It's like, oh, crew shaken and immobilized. It's like, oh great, fantastic.
Like he got super lucky because even the last cannon array, so he's shooting at
strength 10.
So he's strength 10. It's strength 10 because he's an Iron Warrior, so that's awesome. But like, it's only 2 shots.
Yep. Oh, sorry, did I say Iron Warriors? I meant to say Imperial Fists. It was Imperial Fists.
Oh, okay.
So he didn't get a bonus thing, but it was strength 10. It's strength 10 straight up.
Yeah.
So yeah, you got two. It's 2 shots. And you got 2 penetrating hits. So pretty lucky. But anyway, no, great game. Very cool. Sanguinius surrounded by Dawnbreakers and a champion in there.
Yuck.
Yeah,
he's so good.
it's so brutal. Absolutely brutal. I thought that my 3 dreadnoughts, like 2 Marigal and a Contempted Dreadnought, might be a little bit too much. But my opponent's. So my Blood Angel opponent had a Contemptor.
With the jetpack?
Yep. And,
yes! That thing is the best!
and the Imperial Fist had the Derrideo and the Leviathan and the Contemptor. So there were more Dreadnoughts on their side. It was a fun game. But in the end it was 1-0.
Sanguinius is a monster. Like, I was looking at his rules, and he's just so dangerous. Like, none of the Primarchs are slouches. Like, they're all good, but there's like two or three. There's like two or three that are just brutal in close combat. Sanguinius is disgusting. The Lion's pretty good. The Khan is pretty good. The Wolf is awesome. Yep. Korax is pretty good, but he's more designed to kill like tons of dudes.
Yep.
Not necessarily like big units. Sanguinius, like the Wolf, because he has like the sword and the spear, you can kind of pick what he's doing.
Yeah. Which
is insane. And then the Dawnbreakers are filthy. It's like, oh, so we took veteran Assault Marines, gave them in Carmine Glaives, and then you're like, oh, but they don't have any shooting. You're like, well, no, they don't have bolters. They all have grenade launchers mounted on their wrists, which is just, oh my god, they're so dumb.
Yep, everyone's firing crack grenades, and so armor save of 2+, with 2 wounds.
Yep.
So it's crazy stuff.
Absolutely they're gross.
And of course, like when I finally got in there with Lorgar, it was like he challenged me with Sanguinius. I was like, okay, so I guess Lorgar's Brutal 2 is attacking Sanguinius, and so it's just there was a lot of invulnerable saves being made, and it will not die rolls and that kind of thing. But the second game though was 2,500 points of Word Bearers against 2,500 points of Blood Angels. So same players I played before, and same one that played there, and this time was he did the drop assault again.
Oh yeah, Day of
Angels or something like that.
Day of, I can't remember. There's two. There's the Day of Sorrows, which is they get all these extra saves and they get stubborn. Okay. The idea is that they're like we're gonna make our last stand, and then there's the Day of Revelations. I think that's when they all drop in from the sky. It's insane.
Day of Revelations. So but he dropped his first unit down in the second turn where he said he was going to drop it, and then you roll a d6 to see if your drop is disordered, and he rolled a 1, which meant that his drop was disordered, and so I got to set up his units anywhere within 24, like wholly within 24 of one of the models from the unit that he'd already deployed.
Yep.
So they ended up, rather than being like in my face or behind my lines, they were on their back table edge, as if they just sort of walked on. So
on your back table edge?
No, on his back table edge. So I was able to.
Oh wow!
I was able to throw them all back, and then just deal with them piecemeal. So that game result was a little bit different. But I still had a Gal Vorback unit that charged the Derrideo with the plasma array, and so took the Overwatch, and then failed to reach them. Failed to reach him.
Oh,
I know. It was like,
So on the following turn, I'm assuming he just hosed it down with plasma fire.
No, he turned back around and hosed something else down. But then I had to charge it again. But by that point, I was able to get through, kill it. And
the Dorito's not really good at it's not really good at combat.
Right.
Like it's okay against because it'll just get stuck. It just can't kill them all. It'll just get they're not going to kill it. Yep. They'll just get stuck there. But yeah, it's not. It's the complete opposite of Leviathan. It does not want to get in combat. No. It's a weapon platform.
No. It is. But I use Zardu, Lyak, and the Blade Slaves.
Yeah, best band ever.
Yep. I use them as I use Zardu as the Warlord for that second game. And his ability is he can give +1 movement and +1 strength to up to 3 corrupted units. So I gave them to the Gal Vorback and 1 each to my Marigal.
Yep, that's how you do it.
And at the end of the turn, you make a leadership test. And if you fail that, you take Perils of the Warp, so D3 wounds. one of my Marigal wasn't destroyed by it, but he took 3 wounds.
Oh,
It was like,
so
but no, fantastic game though. In both of them, the Blade Slaves acted as a really good backline sort of counter assault. So once his assault marines had gone in and attacked and really done a lot of damage to my tactical marines, I was able then the next turn to charge in, wipe out his assault marines. Yep. I think I killed.
I mean, that's what you want to do. You want to have counterpunch units.
Yeah.
Heresy. I really like Heresy. The more I look at it, like Ben's played a bunch of games now. He and I are playing a game on Tuesday or Monday next week.
Yep.
Not Tuesday. Tuesday I'll be here. But Monday night we're playing a game, so I will let you know how that goes. It's going to be, I think, Space Wolves versus Iron Warriors,
right.
Which is probably not going to go great for me, but I'll try it.
See how it goes.
And then, but yeah, the more I mess with it, the more I play with it. It seems like it's a really, really solid rule set. It seems like it's really well balanced. So,
yep.
I see Scott jumped on. So Scott was already on, but he wants to know what group are you running in Dracula's America?
I was running the I can't remember the name of them. The vampires, basically. So you have,
okay.
I think it's the Twisted Hand or something like that. You have 2. You have the leader of your warband is a vampire, and then another one of your veterans is a vampire as well.
Okay.
There's a guy called the Carpathian, or the Carpathian Guard, which is pretty neat. He runs around. He's got a big fur hat and an axe. But this is like a pre-made one that a host sort of put together for me. But all of the longest range I've got is 12 inches with pistols. So
okay.
It's a little bit tricky. I was playing against the Crossroads cult, who can summon demons. But my opponent had 3 rifles in his warband, I think.
So I'm assuming there's not a lot of shooting. So shooting is by default just powerful.
Oh no! Basically, everybody, pretty much everybody, is going to have a gun of a gun or a pistol at the worst.
Okay.
Somebody. So all of my minions all had a single pistol. There's a rule where you can't, apart from pistols, you can't have the same weapon loadout on anybody.
Okay.
So, for example, you couldn't take your leader and then 3 veterans all of them with 2 6-guns.
Okay.
One of them can have you can have like a leader with 2 6-guns, which is what I've got, and then I've got a veteran with a 6-gun and a pistol. 6-gun gives you 2 shots per shooting action.
Gotcha.
Rather than the pistol, which is just the one. But yeah, it's definitely a cool game.
And then it looks like so JP's on here.
Josh is here. Yeah.
Do you have a moment to speak about our Lord and Savior the Emperor?
Quit calling
I was talking to somebody today about Lorgar, and I was like, I love the whole background with him, where like he gets raised on Cultus,
yep.
and Cultus has been like corrupted by the Great Annihilator, but very subtly. So like they're all aware of like the language of chaos, and to them, chaos is like this benevolent force in the background.
Yep.
So. What's his name? Corphaeron is sort of like, oh, here, Lorgar, let me show you the ways. Here, read this book. And he's like, oh, so there's like really powerful entities out there, and if you like acknowledge them, they give you things. And they're like, yes, exactly. And he's like, so like guys like my dad, and they're like, oh, I mean, yes, technically yes.
Sure.
Like we were hoping you weren't going to go that way, but yeah, there he is.
Corphaeron.
He's the worst. Obviously. He is the worst substitute teacher in the world.
He is. He's terrible. Terrible.
But, and then Chris Gork is on.
Hey, Chris. Good to see you.
Yeah, Cliff likes my Dorito reference. Yeah, like I love the Derideo. I think it's like one of the coolest dreadnoughts, but like, we all just call it the Dorito.
Yep.
Scott. I remember when the Contemptor and the Dorito, before they were all pretenders, they were just went by Chuck and Eddie.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty fair.
You're not wrong. Yep.
I will say the new plastic Contemptor kit is super cool. It's so much better than the old one. Like, there's so many more options, and they made him like, it feels like they made him more posable.
I think it's as posable as the resin one, but obviously it's not resin. You don't have any of the resin cleanup to worry about.
I mean, like they made a plastic Contemptor before. There was one in the.
Oh, it's way more posable than that one.
It's way better than that.
Yeah.
And the new plastic Leviathan is just filthy.
Yep.
that's that. The Leviathan might be my favorite model in the entire like Games Workshop like range.
Awesome.
I just love that thing. It looks like an angry refrigerator.
Yep. And Cliff says everyone is going to have a gun. Dave has gone native. I'm just talking about the game, dude. The game. And Chris is here. Excellent. Good to see you, Chris.
Man.
But yeah, so that's my hobby update. I because the Blade Slaves did so well, I painted them up.
Dude, those models are sick.
They are. They're awesome. I love them.
Somebody who loves you got you those, Dave.
Indeed.
Yeah, they're so good.
It was my buddy Rich.
Sardu Layak and the Blade Slaves.
Yeah. So now I've got Sardu ready to go. He's all primed.
Yeah, he's a great model too.
Yeah, he is great. It's kind of funny. I'm painting up some new models for Joey Maguire for This Is Not a Test. I'm painting up the Traveler Scout troop. So I've got lots of little kids with toting guns. Everybody's got a gun, and he's standing next to them, sort of looking over them. What are all these kids doing? What are they?
These kids like they're up to no good.
Yeah, pretty much. So, but no, it's so that's cool. I'm glad that he's all good and ready to go. But yeah,
Nice.
So let's jump into a little bit of news. We are going to. Oh, Scott says, is Joey making a TNT second edition? Joey's been talking about a second edition for TNT for quite a while. So I'm not sure exactly where he's at with it, but this would be, these guys are going to be for a PDF that will, I think, be later in the year. He hasn't given me a sort of timeline for it. Yeah, but I do need to finish them next month. Hooray! I will. Do you want to? Anybody want a sneak peek?
Sure.
So let me find. Here we go.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's like, buy some cookies or else.
Buy some cookies or else, indeed. There's one with a just wearing hockey gloves and a baseball bat, and it's going to have a yield sign.
Yeah. I know.
So, and
there were some really cool kid models. What are they from? Not great. Poodle with a football helmet.
Yep, everybody needs a poodle with a football helmet. So there you go, Scott. That's all you're getting. Joey will kill me probably, but yeah. So yeah, we're going to jump into some a little bit of news, and then get onto our conversations about board games. Yeah.
Sure.
Sound good? So you had something to let us know.
Oh, yeah. So
Nudge,
I
nudge,
recently
wink, wink.
yeah, I was recently brought on as part of the group at Resnova to help with them sort of relaunching and retaking over the Mutant Chronicles Warzone skirmish game. And I should have mentioned it the other week when we were talking about skirmish games, but we're moving forward with getting everything ready for the new Kickstarter. Anybody who backed the old Kickstarter, it's crazy. So it actually funded, and there's a whole bunch of reasons behind why we decided to back out of it. I was consulting at that point, but hadn't been like brought on. And part of the reason we decided to hold off is the Kickstarter funded, but not, we didn't beat it by such a huge margin that it would have been able to be sustainable. Like, we would have been able to make everything, but then we would have had to like either do another Kickstarter or another round of funding or something to like make it viable. So we wanted to hold off. And like some of the folks that messaged us, and some of the guys were just, we talk about this all the time. It's just people being squeaky wheels. Like, oh, I don't like this and I don't like that. And it's like, look, you're not going to necessarily love everything. And there's so many people that we're trying to appeal to, but we're trying to get that original old school look to the minis. We don't want to make them all like updated and like tactical and smooth. We want to make them look like the old artwork from Paul Bonner and have them all be like, giant shoulder pads and like super chonky and 1990s like heavy metal nightmare kind of vibe. So we wanted to redo a couple of the factions.
Okay.
So we got some new sculptors we brought in, and each one of them is doing a different mega or not megacorp like factions, so we can and they'll all have their own unique style. But that's it. It seems it's going pretty well. We're excited. We're gonna have some big news probably in a couple of months. I think we're gonna do a big reveal probably at Adepticon. But it is happening. It is working. Yeah, Bajas is my favorite. But yeah, it'll be dope. Bajas in particular was one of the ones that we kind of wanted to like redo. I like the Venusian Rangers. Who doesn't like the skull masks? But the masks were cool because they look just like the artwork does. But the dudes were just kind of they were fine. Like they weren't terrible, but they weren't like blowing my socks off. Like, oh, I got to get those. So that's part of the big thing. But that was some news that kind of I figured I would drop on the group. And on a related note, we are looking for people to help us with playtesting for like alpha and beta playtesting for the updated rules. So if anybody's interested, they can message us on the Facebook group, or you can find me on Facebook and message me. If anybody wants to do that. So
Cool. Excellent. Well, that all sounds good. Yay. Good to see that moving forward.
yeah, absolutely.
And I got a couple of things that I prepped some images for.
Okay.
Check it out. It's crazy. I was doing this at 5 o'clock this afternoon. All good. So first up, we have the wooden painting handles from Aaron Dill, my buddy Aaron Dill, Jolly Lark Studios. So these are the ones that I've been using for the last couple of months. Aaron sent me a lovely set of 30 of them to really get to grips with them. So obviously I just have there's a base that's on there. I think that's from my Warp Fire squad, tactical support squad. But basically your minis just sit on top of there on blue tack, and you can have he's got a variety of different quantities in the Kickstarter, but so I think you can get batch of 5, 10, 25, 50. But yeah, they're all really nicely priced. They fit well in the hand. They are all made in the US. They're all turned in the US here. So that's all good. And I think I've already put a link in the show notes below. So you can check that out. That's going for another 9 days, 8 or 9 days, I think. Next up, there is an update on the art of. I almost forgot the name of my own project for a second.
This is all you, buddy. Yeah.
I know. The art of, so volumes 4, 5, and 6. Been working really hard on those, getting the layout done. And of course, on this photo of my screen, of layout on my screen, you got that wonderful Moyer pattern going on. So that's just an artifact of that technology and frame refresh rates. But yeah, so this is from Chris Surrey's book on composition. It's got a section on composition there, which is super cool. I think we're about 8 or 9 pages away from finishing Chris's book, which is nice. We've got
Wow, he did the Mona Lisa and the girl with the earring. He's old.
He did, yeah. He's been around for a long time. He is a perpetual.
Awesome.
So he's not a star child like the Emperor, but he is a perpetual. He reports to the Cabal.
Sweet.
So
somebody's got to.
Some wonderful Horus Heresy references there for folks who didn't know that. But yep. So we've got that, and this one is from. It's one of the spreads from Saint Idier's book, Volume 6. This is one I've done the least amount of work on. I'm probably about 30 pages in. So I've got another 70 pages to do in the next few weeks. Tommy's book, I'm about 55 pages in out of 104, so about another 50 pages to go on Tommy's. But yeah, all looking good. I'm very excited that we're past the halfway mark for total number of pages completed, and that's all looking good. But also I've put a... Oops. Did I say Star Child?
I think you did.
What should it be?
Or what?
For the Emperor. It's Star Child, isn't it? He is Paul Stanley. Yeah.
I mean, sure.
All good.
He's definitely not Peter Criss. Peter Criss is like...
Right.
Who's the cat guy? That might be Lorgar. Peter Criss might be Lorgar.
Really?
Maybe.
Yeah. That's funny.
I mean, Gene Simmons is definitely Angron.
Excellent. Sorry, just gonna check the chat. We got Phil popped on and said just hopped on and heard that we're looking for playtests. No idea what it's for, and I'm gonna need to go back and watch, but I'm in.
Awesome.
Hank said I managed to fill out my survey before the deadline. Hooray! I think you're talking about. Hopefully, they're talking about the art of. Chris, I thought that was a still from the Cell. I think no, that was a still from Thor in the composition thing. And Scott says Chris Surrey for sure didn't paint those. It's true, he didn't.
Maybe.
But yes. And the next exciting thing is that because I can't leave well enough alone, in October we're going to be coming back to Kickstarter with the tremendous tome of Epic Dungeons, which is going to be a more like a coffee table book of epic dungeon builds. Jeff Hall and myself will be doing this. We've got a couple of Jeff Hall's epic builds are going to be in there. Our friend Tim Tulin has done some artwork for us, and there's an awesome entryway into a desert snake cult kind of dungeon. So I'm going to build that for the book. We've spoken with the folks at Dwarven Forge, at Steve Jackson Games, at WizKids, at Monster Fight Club. We're going to be doing epic builds with all of them, which will be super cool. And then tomorrow I've got a meeting with Jeff where we're going to put together our list of people in the community that we're contacting to talk to them about getting some of their epic dungeon builds into the book. But that should be October, so I'll come back and talk about that again at another time.
Okay.
But yeah, very excited about it. We're going to go for that leather look finish for the book and the gold foil. So all that straight up from the start. Make it
Sweet.
Give it a very sort of in-world sort of feel, which should be a lot of fun. And I'm thinking, I just got this arrived today.
Oh, nice.
From the Army Painter. And the cool thing is, well, the whole thing's cool, but down there you can see
Human Rogue, Wood Elf Ranger, Dwarf Cleric, Human Fighter, Tiefling Warlock. All right.
Yep. So I think I might paint those up, and then we can have them being the lovely common thread through the tremendous tome of Epic Dungeons.
Sure.
They can appear in a whole bunch of adventures along the way.
Dude, the guys at Army Painter are such good guys. Like, every time I talk to them, I'm always like, wow, they're such good folks.
Yep. Yeah, definitely cool. So, yeah, that should be good to check out.
We got anything else?
That's it for the news.
So, I got one more.
Oh, one more? What have we got?
And hopefully you and I can add a link on here somewhere.
Sure.
So anybody who goes to Adepticon will know these people. So Jim and Cathy Wappel, friends of the show, they've had some rough sledding. Cathy, who is a fantastic painter and a great personality, was recently diagnosed with cancer, and they are dealing with that. And so the great folks at Adepticon, like the shirt that Davis got on, decided to step up. So Hank and Matt and the team decided to help out and help put the word out So Tim Toolin, another buddy of ours,
Yep.
did the art. He does the art for the Adepticon shirts. He's done a bunch of stuff. He has his own art company. Tim did this really cool image for the Wapples, and it basically it's all stuff that they're known for. Like it has Jim's like hockey hat that he always wears. He always wears a Blackhawks hat. It's got her little green stuffy doll thing that she brings everywhere. It's got the Adepticon cog in the background. But we're doing a charity shirt. You can get it off the Adepticon website. If you can't find it, just message me and I will send you the link. Dave and I are going to try to put the link up as well.
Yep.
But all the proceeds from the shirt go to Jim and Cathy. I've been working with the other company that I've been interested in doing merch. And we basically like rock bottom the prices. Like we're basically not making any money. We're basically paying our guys to make the shirts, and then that's it. Like we're not making any profit on it, so that they can get a little more. We're pretty close to hitting like a really good number. So if anybody is around, like please spread the word, share the link. We're doing pre-orders through the 1st. So you've got tonight and tomorrow. I think Hank and Matt are going to try to get extras so that there's a little bit of sell-through afterwards. But if you're interested, it's an awesome cause, and they're truly great people. If you decide to go to Adepticon, Jim and Cathy every year put Fort Wappel underneath the escalator, and it's all paint and supplies and all kinds of stuff, and they put that all up themselves so people can just kind of hang out and have a place to like chill and paint. The first time I went to Adepticon, like they were super nice and super accommodating and really, really welcoming. And it's just a really cool experience to like go to the show and hang out, and you could be sitting there with like random kids and dudes who want to like start painting and like people that are new to the hobby, but also there's people like Ray Rappaport's down there painting his guys, and Mel Bowes was hanging out with us there a couple of years ago, and then Jim and Cathy are there, and they'll give it input and feedback. They are super nice folks, so they definitely deserve the help. So
Yep. Excellent. I've just popped the link for the shirt in the chat, and I'll also stick it in the show notes below after the show. So
Scott asked about the hotel rooms. So the hotel rooms in the venue sold out immediately. But just so everybody knows, there are like 5 hotels within like minutes of the place. Like I know that I usually stay at the I think it's a DoubleTree. It's either a DoubleTree or Hilton Resort. It's like across the parking lot. So I literally stay there and I walk over every day, and it's just a little bit less money. And that's the hotel we were talking about last time, where they have the free drinks at happy hour.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
Nice. Pardon me. One thing I will say as well, Scott, though, if you do definitely want to stay in the hotel that's attached to the convention center, is right now, not everybody knows if they're going or not. There are a lot of people who just like, I think I'm going to go, so I'm going to get a hotel room. So they book their hotel room, and then about a month beforehand, they go, I'm not going. I didn't get my leave didn't get approved, or something's come up, so I'm not able to go. Those hotel rooms come back on the market. So around about 6 weeks to a month before the show, you can be checking that out. As Jake says, you can snag a room at one of the other hotels first, and then do the shuffle if you want.
Yeah, you're definitely right. They do like a second wave thing, and like Cliff said, they most of the other places do run shuttles, like every 5 to 10 minutes. So getting to the venue is not super hard. It's really good. Like hopefully we'll see a lot of you guys at the show, and Dave and I'll be able to rub elbows with you guys and kind of spend some time. But like I know this year at Adepticon, I've got way too many things on my plate. So I may have worked out a deal where I'm running the Modifius booth.
Nice.
So like that's cool, but also I'm supposed to be there with Res Nova to do a bunch of like Warzone stuff and make announcements. And then also you and I are hopefully going to do stuff while we're there. So I was like, whoops. So I'm going to make sure I have enough people to like run the booth so I can like get away. It should be okay. I'm putting the team together now, but yeah, if anybody wants to help out at the Modifius booth, like I will probably be willing to consider it.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
And that's because we talked about this last time. There's 4 shows that weekend.
Yeah.
I just
crazy.
Get it. I don't understand that.
Absolutely crazy. But anyway, so there you go. information about the shirts. We've answered the question about Adepticon. And Phil said the hotel rooms also get released about 50 weeks before the stay date for the Renaissance. Sure you won't get the block rate. Oh, okay, yeah. So just remember, a couple of weeks after Adepticon, you can book for the following year.
Yep.
But you won't get the necessarily the negotiated Adepticon room rate. But you can guarantee that you'll be there. Yep. I completely agree with you, Scott. I also hate staying off site, even if it's just a 5-minute walk. I'm terribly lazy. But excellent.
Free happy hour. Free happy hour.
Free happy hour. Yeah, that's okay. I don't drink that much anymore, anyway. But yes, let's move on. Before we move into your favorite game of the game du jour,
Sure.
I thought we'd throw this up mainly because we're talking about board games with miniatures and that kind of thing. It's 10 years ago this year, I think, that Zombicide first funded on Kickstarter.
The original one?
Yeah, 2012. It feels like longer, doesn't it?
Wow, yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah, it feels like a lot longer. But no, I think it was 2012. And I think these...
That's the game that broke Kickstarter.
Yeah, at the time. Yep, for sure. I think I read something today that over the last 10 years they've basically raised over $9.5 million for Zombicide games on Kickstarter.
That's probably right, because you've got Zombicide, then you've got Black Plague, then you've got Green Horde, then you've got Invader, then you've got Zombicide 2, which is the update.
Yep.
Then you've got Undead. No, what's the Wild West one?
No idea.
It's a lot. Instead of Alive or Dead, it's Alive or Undead.
Okay.
And now you've got the Marvel one. So there's 7 Zombicides.
Yeah. It's crazy. But anyway, so these are some of the awesome sculpts that really sort of kicked off the whole sticking plastic. In this case, the originals were PVC minis into board games, and really showed people that it was possible. Showed publishers it was possible, and in 10 years since then, we've had loads of folks making excellent minis. Loads of folks making not so excellent minis, some questionable minis. But it has been very cool to see the evolution of it all as it's gone through. I think something Scott made a post in the Facebook group earlier with some excellent Blood Bowl minis that we'll have a look at a little bit later, and said that while he knows that a lot of people would say that like Blood Bowl, Underworlds, Warhammer Underworlds, and that kind of thing were all board games because you play them on a board.
Right.
His feeling was that because you have to assemble those miniatures when you open the box, you've got to clip them off, you've got to glue them together or push fit them together.
Sure.
There's assembly to do, that they aren't board games, with board games being something that's ready to play out of the box.
Sure.
So I figure if we... I've got to admit, I do love that definition. I think that works quite well. Perhaps the others are hobby board games.
Sure, I could see that being... like for me, my sort of differentiator is if you can play with what's in the box and it's all self-contained, like whether or not you can add on whatever, if you can play with what's in the box and you don't need to get anything else, if there is a board involved, it's a board game. But I understand what you're saying. Like there's the whole like GW now releases the whole boxed starters,
right?
Where it's like you could theoretically just buy Horus Heresy, and you don't need to buy anything else.
Yeah.
It has all the rules for the guys in the little assembly manual, and it has like your cheat sheets and stuff. but it's not a board game though, because it doesn't there's no board included.
No, but it's not played on a board where your movement is restricted by squares or tiles or hexes or that kind of thing.
But I like that. I think board game and then hobby board game. I think those are two branches of the same tree. I'd give you that.
Quite possibly. So I think that's all good. But as long as we realize there are lots of different ways to slice the definitions here, and we're not we're not here to come up with the definitive decision on. Not this time, no. Exactly.
If the fans want it, I'll do it. If the fans want it, I will do it. But
I don't know if we have enough time tonight. We might need to come back on Saturday.
This will be a 10-part miniseries. It'll be like watching the original Shogun on TV. It'll be far too long and far too many nights, but totally worth it.
Fantastic indeed. But yes, just quickly. Cliff says roller skating with a chainsaw doesn't seem like the best idea.
I disagree. I'm a great skater. I'm a hockey player myself. I feel like I could pull it off.
Yeah.
It's not for everybody.
No, it's not for everybody. It's not for me. It's not for me. I would step back and let you just go and do your thing.
Oh, hell yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, the minis are so good.
Yep. I think Scott's brought up a good point here as well, which I think feeds into that. Is that his feeling is Blood Bowl, etc., is meant to be much more than just the box game experience. So, it just playing with humans versus orcs isn't the sole goal of the game. You can do it. It can just be that.
Yeah.
But it's at its peak when it's got everything around it. So it has the additional sort of stuff. I suppose the same could be said for Zombicide and the additional stuff.
Yeah,
the additional boxes for that. But
I think Blood Bowl. But I to Scott's point, I think that Blood Bowl. I think Blood Bowl is different. I think Blood Bowl is what we would consider it is a boxed game. It is not necessarily a board game. Even though there is a board, they're deliberately giving you a slice of this whole thing,
right,
to get it. Whereas Zombicide is it's the opposite. You're getting 85% of the whole thing in one box.
Right.
And if you want to add on the extras, you can. But they don't really do anything. It's just alternate sculpts or extra missions or whatever.
Yep.
You're just adding on. Whereas with Blood Bowl, like you said, it's two teams out of the I don't know however many teams they have, but it's a little different. But.
No, for sure. It's all good.
Yeah. Siege of the Citadel was great. The original one. Then the reprint by Modifius is super cool, but man, did they get off the rails with that one. They were like, oh, we're going to do a Kickstarter that's huge. And they're like, okay, cool. And they're like, so the board game is way too expensive. We can't make any money on it. And I'm like, okay. And it took them years to get everything fulfilled. Modifius got themselves in such a bind with that one that they don't know what to do with the games, because they still have some of them, but they can't do anything with them because they're about to lose the license. And I was just like, oh man, that's all kinds of bad. We're actually gonna work out a deal with them. I might try to buy all the existing copies they have,
right, and
sell them to folks, just because it's awesome. It's just there's no margin.
Yep. That's one of the dangerous things I think that the Zombicide has spawned.
Ray,
the crazy bloat. Yep.
Yeah, Ray Rappaport is a good buddy of ours. He's known both of us for years, and he worked for C1 forever. And I remember him telling me about Zombicide because I was like, man, I can't get over how crazy it is. And he's like, oh, that's the game that basically got C1 rolling. And they had the idea to make it, and they talked to who is it? It's JP.
No, Guillotine Games.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they went and they pitched it, and nobody wanted it. People were like, well, zombies are kind of over. It doesn't really seem like anybody wants to do anything with this. And they were like, okay, cool. And then Guillotine Games was like, we'll totally make it. And then they were like, okay, we're going to do a Kickstarter. And then it literally shut down Kickstarter for 2 days.
Yep.
Because they were like, whoa, what do you mean there's all these people that want to put money in?
All this traffic. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. But No, good for them. The new, I'm really looking forward to the new Marvel one. I backed that at the highest level. I want the giant 3 foot tall zombie Galactus. Like, I was like, yep. I was like, you can send me all that.
Awesome. Nice. But
So good.
I was going to say we're going to. I think when we look at everybody else's painted minis that they've sent pictures through of, basically Zombicide is at one end, Bardsung is at the other, and I'm not talking spectrum of quality. I'm talking about time frame.
Sure.
So Bardsung was last year.
Yeah.
Or released at the end of last year.
Yep. Yeah, they were pretty quick with it. But that's the other thing too. Like the companies have gotten so much better about like their turnaround time. Like I just backed the. I forgot about the name of it the other day. It's the guys who do. It's not Mythic Studios. It's somebody else. It might be Awaken Realms.
Okay.
But they have a new one where it's like you basically play as like. It's very cyberpunky. Like you play as like hackers, and you can like go into like it's like Tron. Like you go into the computer or Matrix, and you like can summon like programs to fight for you and stuff.
And do you get to say greetings programs?
I am 100% going to say that.
Okay, sure.
I'm hoping that you fight against the Master Control program. Sark will be there with his memory disk. But it's super cool, and they were showing that they're already getting ready to do the English fulfillment. And I was like, wow, I only backed that like 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And like they showed that their first Kickstarter, from when they opened the Kickstarter until when people got their stuff, it was like 16 months.
Right.
And then their second Kickstarter, it was like 12 months. And then their last Kickstarter, it was like just over 10 months. So they were talking about how they've gotten better about like, you know, really kind of shaving off the extra of their processes and really kind of like crunching their timetables and stuff.
Yep.
To the point that now theoretically they'll be able to do a backed Kickstarter and fulfillment within the same calendar year. And I was like, that's amazing. Like that's so cool that they've been able to kind of learn that way. But
Yep, for sure. For sure. But what did you want to tell us about Bardsung?
It's awesome.
Yeah.
The minis in this game are absolutely insane. I think it comes with like it's between 50 and 60. It's something. It's
around the 60 mark, I think. Yeah.
And the models are just nuts. There's like all of the playable characters. So like if you don't want to paint yourself, if you're just somebody who's like a board gamer,
yep.
I like when they color code stuff. So all of the player characters I think they're yellow, and then all of the enemies are gray. And they look super cool. Like none of the characters are traditional. So yeah, that's the character. So you've got like the left to right. It's a elf sorceress.
Yep.
And then you've got a half orc cleric or paladin.
Yep.
You've got a Kenku like thief assassin guy. You've got a dwarf like fighter barbarian, and then you've got a turtle druid.
Yep.
And all three of the like humanish characters, like the half orc, the dwarf, and the elf, are all female.
Yep.
Or at least they could potentially be female. I just think it's really cool that they didn't do like a bunch of standard trope characters. Like there's the big giant barbarian who looks like Conan, and there's like a standard fighter with a sword and shield. They did do alternates, so if you buy the Fables box, which was all the Kickstarter sort of extras and stuff, there's like 9 more characters in there. There's like a Warforged warrior, and there's like this huge I think there's like a centaur barbarian, and they're just super cool. But the sculpts are great, and then the bad guys are awesome. There's a ton of like goblins and orcs, and there's a bunch of classic D&D monsters. There's like a hook horror.
Okay.
That looks very like Stranger Things. It has like a set of beaks that open like this, and then a set of smaller beaks inside that open sideways.
Yep.
There's like the big like hook hands, and then there's a rust monster. There's a gelatinous cube that looks amazing. The big demon is huge. The one that's like really obvious in the picture. He's on. I don't even know what it is. It's got to be like 120 mil base.
Yep.
And he's already huge. And his wings, you have to attach them. They just sink into his shoulders. One of the things that I like the most about this game is that as part of the Kickstarter, they were like, oh, if we hit this amount, we'll put in like trays. So everything fits back into trays, which then fits back in the box, which I'm a huge fan of that. I think that is really smart that you make everything. So all the minis have their little sets that they fit in, and like all the tokens have a little thing they go in, and it's really, really cleverly assembled and very, very smartly fitted to the box. So it's a dynamite set. The guys at Steamforge have been killing it.
They have. It's been absolutely fantastic. And if you, I can't remember the name of the guy who's doing their artwork, but all the artwork on the cards in Bardsung is fantastic, and it matches a lot of the artwork from Epic Encounters, their Epic Encounters line.
Yeah.
But I painted up a bunch of these Bardsung minis on Painting Happy Little Minis, a show that I did on the Game Trade Media channel. So if you want to go and check that out, check out Painting Happy Lil Minis, so LIL minis, and you can find some stuff. Probably March, April this year, I painted some of those. But I painted that turtle up, and it was absolutely super cool mini to paint. And I think I painted the elf as well, but and some of the reavers.
Yep.
Which looks super cool. Very nice stuff. Excellent. Other Bardsung minis, bendy plastic.
So I don't know what material they're. They're not like the first Zombicide dudes. They're more like the most recent Zombicide dudes. So they're.
I think it's still, as far as I'm aware, it's still PVC, but it's a much sturdier PVC. Just quickly.
Super Fantasy Brawl. The guys are Mythic.
Super Fantasy Brawl, Mythic. So, buddy of mine, Brian, does a lot of demo games for them. Does the demo gaming for them at Gen Con and a couple other shows. He dropped by 2 sets that I'm going to be painting up on commission. So these models are huge. They're like 54 mil scale or something like that.
Great game too.
Yep. So it is a board game, Scott. They come single piece, so they're already assembled, and that's the give on the tail.
Yeah, and the Bardsung stuff is very similar.
That's the flex on the sword.
It's definitely still. I think it's still PVC, but yeah, it is a much better PVC. It's not like.
Yeah.
It's not the watered down old one for like melty board game pieces. Like they're so much better.
Yep. It's almost.
Scott wants to know if you can put those on the main screen so it's not like your tiny little.
Yeah, good call. I did that before, didn't I? I'm a dumbass. Okay. So yeah, let's just do that quickly.
While Dave's doing that, I saw somebody post about the Yeah, dude, those models are sick.
So yeah. That's the swords.
Yeah,
Let me.
Yeah, show off the tail.
Yep.
Yeah, they're good. They're good quality.
There's a sword.
Even though they're PVC, they're good. The only thing I would say, and most of the Bardsung stuff is pretty clean.
Yep.
And same with those. If you're gonna clean them up, just use a really sharp X-Acto carefully. But don't try to scrape mold lines. You just want to cut off any flash. But they've been pretty good. Like I really haven't had to cut a lot off.
Yeah.
I think I had one model that was like not missculpt, not miscast, but like it was just in the box wrong, so it bent.
Yeah.
But that was it.
On this guy, you might be able to see some fine mold lines down the inside of the arms, but then along the top of the sword blades, where you'd expect to see that mold line continue, it isn't there. So, but yeah, so hopefully that gives you an idea. You can. It'll just be a quick slice with a sharp blade.
Good hobby knife.
Yep. So
Dave Cliff talked about the Conan Monolith Kickstarter. Yeah, that game was great. I think we still have a couple copies of that at the shop. That game is phenomenal. The minis are super cool, and they work great. A buddy of mine runs the Modifius Conan RPG, and we use all of the stuff from the Monolith board game because it's perfect. And then somebody else was talking about, Scott was talking about AVP. Yeah, like AVP is a weird one, and those models are great. Like I'm still trying to find myself one of the Cheyenne dropships with the fold-out like bug missile pod. It's just one of my favorite gunships of all time. But yeah, like the AVP thing, part of that problem, and I'm not trying to give anybody a hard time, but like the guys who are running that license, they kind of had their hands tied at first, and then the problem they ran into is that they were a newer company and they're trying to grow. And I think that they kind of bit off more than they could chew. And they also, because they were new to the industry in terms of like being a customer-facing business instead of a business-to-business supplier, I don't think they really knew how to like advertise that game properly and handle it properly. I didn't even know it was a thing. It had been out for like 3 years, and I was at Gen Con. I walked around a corner and saw it, and was like, "Oh, like is this a new game?" And they're like, "No, it's been around for years." And I was like, "You guys are doing a terrible job advertising it. If I work in the industry and I've never heard of this game, like,
Yep.
and it's a big license. It's not like it was something that they made up." So
Yep. Cool. Oh, Chris has got to run. We'll catch you later. We're going, Chris.
take it easy, Chris. To answer your question earlier, I don't know if I'm easier or harder than Andy Chambers. I've never worked for him. I would assume easier, but I don't know.
Yep. Fingers crossed. Okay, so we've had a look. We've talked about some of those things. So let's have a look at some super cool minis from board games that folks have been painted up. So the first one is from Ben Williams, our friend in Austin. And I think when he posted this this afternoon, it was Monpoc's a board game, right? And I think it is. Well, so the great thing is that Mythic is doing. Well, they've already run the Kickstarter for it for the board game, Monpoc the board game.
Yeah.
So
which I think will be instantly better.
Yep. All of the minis from Monpoc can be used in the board game, and all the minis from the board game will be able to be used in the non-board game version.
Nice.
But as always with Ben's painting, this is super cool. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Jay's saying that he also used the Conan board game miniatures for the Modifius RPG. They're definitely good. But yeah, I love this. I love the all the wonderful color choices on it. And of course, that tiny pink car.
Yeah.
On the base. Just
I like that he very carefully did not step on the tiny
tiny car.
Very big car.
Yep. Nice. Josh is going to run. What I saw of it in the we'll catch the rest on demand.
Nice.
Fantastic. But yeah, thanks very much for sending this through, Ben. It is super cool. Next up, we have a photo from Chris Gorka. So I wanted to put this one in so that we could compare it a little bit later with compare and contrast with my Fire Giant from Blood Rage. So yeah, this is from Blood Rage from Simon, which is the Viking Ragnarok fantasy game. It is a really cool game. I painted up an entire set of this on commission for a buddy of mine, Dean Clark, and this one was the earlier PVC style. So the anybody who had a spear.
Oh yeah, they're all super droopy.
Yep. So you spent a lot of time heating things up and sort of shocking them back into shape as I could. But it was a lot of fun to paint the whole thing. But I love the like Chris's style is very much a lot of desaturated colors and then something super saturated to pop. And that flaming sword just looks awesome. He's done a great job on that.
On Surtur. Surtur's great.
That's Surtur? That was...
I mean, essentially, it's a fire giant.
Fire giant, yeah. And his next one is from Mythic Battles Pantheon, I think. So this is Athena. And she looks fantastic as well.
This is, I mean, that's a great model. My only issue with this game is, again, the guys at Mythic, for a company that makes board games, they are perpetually like unsure how to sell board games.
Right. Yep.
Like only like, yeah, I run a shop. how do I get your game? And they're like, well, you would have had to back the Kickstarter. I'm like, right, I get that, but how do I get it from you now?
Yep.
And they're like, oh, we don't have it. And I'm like, so you spent all this time on like development and production and artwork and resources and sculpting to make a game once?
I think Secrets of the Third Reich was their first one that they budgeted to go to be able to create it to go into retail. So anything before Secrets of the Third Reich, not Secrets of the Third Reich, Reichbusters. Reichbusters is Secrets of the Third Reich we talked about last week. Everything before that was priced to just sell through Kickstarter. So they made their money. There's an argument for it. I know that as a store owner that you're not a big fan of that.
Well, but it's like
I'm not a particular fan of it either. But
again, it's not even like they made their money. It's like it'd be like it's the equivalent of like going to the grocery store, buying a loaf of bread, a pound of cheese, a pound of ham, making one sandwich, and then throwing the rest in the trash. Like it's like you could have made a bunch of other sandwiches, and they're like, yeah, but we didn't want to. It's like
that's a really wacky analogy, but
I mean, it's true though. Like,
no, it's not the same analogy, but I know what you're saying. I know where you're coming from there.
Anyways, Chris, she is great.
But yes, let's focus on this.
The moral of the story is that Chris did a great job painting Athena.
Yep, definitely. And Scott said, "Did you think there would be a market for these minis in a painter's edition?" Great job on this, by the way. I think actually you might have just stumbled onto an excellent business model, which is if you were to cherry pick some of the best sculpts from these games and produce them in resin under license. Good one. I like it. But yeah, that could be very cool. But, next up, we've got a few photos from Cliff Edders with one of my favorite miniature board games from the last 10 years. It is Stuffed Fables. Pardon?
Such a good game.
It is a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun playing this with my daughters. We've played through almost the entire book. I think we've got the last 2 or 3 adventures to play. But yeah, it is super cool. The characters these are the player characters. So you've got Leo, the lion. You've got Teddy, the teddy bear.
Jerry Hawthorne did such a good. Jerry Hawthorne designed this game. Like this is his. And all of his games are so just really, really brilliantly put together and so smart in their design and layout. The fact that the storybook is the board is such a cool thing. And then like the models in this are great. There's an expansion for this called Oh Brother.
Okay.
And the idea is you get all the brothers toys. So there's a guy that's definitely not He-Man, and there's another guy that's definitely not a Godzilla toy. But there's like a unicorn that's definitely not like My Little Pony. And the idea is that they all then also can play in this, and there's a whole expansion, has a whole new story. Right. But this Jerry's first game was I think Mice and Mystics.
Okay.
Which is very like Rats of Nim or like Redwall. So it has like mice are like the main characters, and there are monsters in the wild. So when you leave the Warrens, which is the underground city, to go out into the wilds, there are monsters like cats.
Right.
So you have to like bring back like resources and stuff. It's super cool. But he makes like 5 or 6 games, and they all have a very similar aesthetic. They're very different, but if you like one of them, you will probably like all of them.
Yeah. No, for sure. This is a great one. So yeah, as Jake said, if anybody hasn't seen this, so that playing surface there is one of the pages in the spiral bound book, which is really sturdy, great quality, and all of your adventures take place on there. You've got you can maybe see some green lines in the ground. There are green lines, red lines, white lines, which determine how you can move through them. There are different colored dice to to use for different actions. So if you've got the green line there, if you want to move across that green line, you can only do that if you use a green dice to for your movement.
And the whole purpose of the game, for anybody who wants to get it, is it is definitely kid friendly, but it is a game that anybody can play, and it is super well designed. Like when I play this, I don't feel like I'm playing Candyland or Chutes and Ladders. Like it is a really well designed board game. It just has a very like kid friendly look to it. But the idea is that Mr. Nightmare has like kidnapped your child, and the Stuffies like go into the dream world to like save the kid. It's awesome.
Yep, definitely. Here are some of the bad guys. Cliff has done an excellent job painting these up as well. And
Mr. Nightmare.
And then here's a shot of them all together. What we did with ours is I painted up the characters, because I painted up some of them on Painting Happy Little Minis. But I gave my daughters the minions, and they painted them up. So there's two very different styles. There was like my probably my 7-year-old. Lucy was 7 at the time. Emily was 10. So there's a different style between the two. But it's great that we can use those when we play. It's definitely cool. But yeah, Cliff's done an awesome job.
Nice work, Cliff. I like how you painted the 4 like evil dolls, like the Teletubbies.
Right. Yep.
Yeah,
the Dark Hearts.
Yeah.
The sort of the rabbit kind of things.
It's super cool. Again, the old brother expansion is amazing.
Yeah. No, it's excellent work. Nice one, Cliff. Thanks for that. Next up, I'm going to show this one. Raw. These are some Blood Bowl minis. And I know that we talked about it before. I'm just showing these here now because
it's all good.
Because I need to remind people as well, the Nova Open Charitable Foundation Summer Raffles are running now. I think you've got until the end of, I think you've got until October 1st to buy tickets. I painted up a set of Dungeon Bowl, which is a bit more board gamey, a bit more self-contained, maybe. Not really. You can add all sorts of extra stuff to it. But, yeah, so it's got the College of Shadows and the College of Fire teams there. So dwarves and ogres against Skaven and Dark Elves. Yep. But they were a lot of fun. So we were moving right along.
Those are great. You did a good job. Dave, you got a future in this miniature thing, I think.
Yeah? You think?
Yep. I think so. Somebody write it down. Write it down. August 30th, 2022. Jake predicts.
Jake predicts. Dave might go places as far as miniatures go. Thanks, mate. I appreciate it.
No worries, buddy.
But there we go. There's my my fire giant.
That's awesome.
I painted up. So I painted a lot more like the artwork rather than the approach that Chris took. But yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun to paint. I focused more on the gold, on the metallics, than on the fire. So it was a lot of fun to try and push the contrast on that.
It's such a great sculpt too. Like he's got like weird 8 feet, and he's got like just such a cool. Like he looks so cartoonishly off-put because like he's super top heavy. Yeah. His arms are really long, and like his legs are really short. Like
he's got a big gorilla sway back thing going on.
Yeah, but I mean he's a super cool model.
Yeah,
he did a great job. The metallics look awesome. The headpiece is great.
It was a lot of fun. And now we've got a mini by from Drew Drescher, which is also from Blood Rage, and it's the Frost Giant.
Okay.
Yep. So yeah, Drew did an awesome job on this one. Beautiful model. I love the glowing runes. The glowing.
The rune marks are awesome, and then he did a great job on the armband too. The armband on his left arm, or our right, but his left arm is the gold looks great. It looks really like burnished and stuff.
Yep.
And there's like snow on the rock, like you just picked it up.
Yep. And I think my favorite thing as well is that there's that little extra of the on the knees and the
Yeah.
and the knuckles and the toes.
Yeah.
Just that little punch of sort of pink magenta in there, which is that cold frostbitten skin.
It's a great mini. And again, Scott, to your question earlier, these are the old PVC plastic.
Yep.
Like these models are. I mean, this is Blood Ridge was like I think their second Kickstarter.
No, it's a little bit later, but
Still pretty early.
It delivered in 2015.
Okay.
So 2016, was doing the beginning of 2016. I was doing the commission. So.
But these are the older PVCs.
Yeah,
so
yeah, they are. Yeah,
a little more bendy, but like the models are great. Like and it's a super fun game. I love Blood Rage.
Yeah, a lot of the monsters have got that. They're big and chunky, so they don't suffer from that same bendy plastic kind of feel.
Yeah. But I think that they were really smart because this is when they were partnered with McVeigh Studios. When Mike McVeigh went and started his own, like he was doing all the miniatures design for them.
Yep.
I think Mike was really smart knowing that they were using plastics and it wasn't their first Kickstarter. I think he was really smart in like their layout. So even like the different clans or the different tribes, they look really good. There's not a lot of bend. They were pretty smart with them. So,
but yeah, gorgeous stuff. Nice work, Drew. Here's another photo from Drew Drescher.
it looks great.
This one's from Marvel United. So the most recent Marvel Kickstarter, with all the chibi style characters. So I think this is
Shuri.
Shuri. Yep.
Yeah.
And she looks awesome. I think Drew's done another great job of pinning up there.
Great job with her hair. It's like very subtle, but like highlighting it like that makes it still looks really dark.
Yeah. Yeah, and it looks like natural hair.
Yeah. Her eyes are dynamite.
Yep. And for the Nova Open Charitable Foundation Spring Raffles, there are about 35 artists from around the world, painted a whole bunch of fantastic models from this range. So you can go back and check out those cool models just to see the cool paint jobs on them. I think somebody's already won that set, so you can't win that right now. But
they paint up super nice too.
Yeah.
Like this game, we'll have this game in stock in a couple of weeks. They did another one of those weird things where like the base game was a Target exclusive after Kickstarter,
right.
which seemed crazy. You're like, wait a minute, so I can get everything else, but I can't get the base game? And you're like, yeah, basically, you have to go to a Target. And I was like, that seems nuts. But they just signed a deal with Asmodee, so now we'll be able to get everything. But the minis are super cool. Like even if you buy just the two base games, there's Marvel United, which I think comes with like, kind of all the classic heavy hitters like Cap and Black Widow and Hawkeye and all that stuff. And then there's a bunch of villains. And then there's the new X-Men box set, which comes with kind of the classic X-Men you'd think of. And then you get two anti-heroes. You get Magneto and Mystique, who can be played heroes or villains. And then you get like a handful of villains. But they're awesome, and there's so many expansions for it. If you really want to get them all, there's tons of them. But if anybody's played like was it like Super Dungeon Explorer or what was the Simon game with the super deformed guys?
They're called Chibi, but it's Arcadia Quest. And
yeah, okay.
It's almost like you're looking through my eyes at the next picture that's coming up from Jeff Smith, which is amazing. It's Arcadia Quest models.
Nice.
So it's the Usagi Yojimbo hero pack. And these look fantastic. I think Jeff's done an excellent job there. I don't know any of the characters myself. I've never played Arcadia Quest or this, but I just love the excellent work that he's done on them.
No, those look dynamite. Usagi looks great.
Is Usagi the one in the middle?
Yeah, he's the rabbit.
Rabbit
The cool thing about so he was like a comic book character.
Okay.
And he's a samurai rabbit. So the best part is like instead of having a top knot, he like has his ears pulled back.
Right.
I'm like that's his ears. Yeah, he's such a cool character, and that's a great paint job too.
Yep. Yeah, Jeff's done awesome work on there.
I can't remember the. I think is he a rhino? Is there a rhino or a warthog? The guy on the left, I can't think of his name.
Okay.
And then there's the cat lady like assassin.
The cat geisha. Yeah. But if it is a rhino, I think pretty sure that's called a Nodachi. Like the huge longsword.
Yeah. I can't remember his name. Jeff, what's the guy on the left's name? Or what are all the names? I know Usagi Yojimbo is the rabbit, but I can't remember the other two. He's on here. He's lurking. Apparently, Dave, you are now dead to him now for not knowing Usagi Yojimbo.
That's okay. Just assume, everybody should assume that if it's not like Warhammer, I generally don't know about it.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah, just assume. And then you'll be pleasantly surprised when I do know something.
Oh.
Like, oh, hey. Check that out.
What's next?
He said Harkonnen correctly.
You did say Harkonnen correctly.
Oh, did I? Or is it Harkonnen?
Technically, you could say it either way, but I always say Harkonnen.
Me too. But yes. Excellent work, Jeff. Looks very cool. Next up, we have some stuff from Tim Felton. So hopefully Tim's in the chat. But it's from the Dragon Prince. So I'm not sure if you have you played this at all, Jake?
No, I don't know this one. I've seen it. I've seen it at like shows and stuff, but I've never played this one.
Right. I think Tim said that he plays this with his kids. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's the same type of game as Stuffed Fables, but obviously a bit more of a kid-friendly set of mechanics. But Tim's done an excellent job here with the painting.
Yeah, they look awesome.
Everything looks really cool. Nice stuff. But do you know who makes this?
Why do I? Yeah, I think I could find out.
Sure thing.
And you know what? I'm not even going to do it on my computer screen because it'll change the lighting. I will look it up on my
Change the
phone.
lighting.
I'll look it up on my phone so it won't.
Nice.
Yeah,
Leave it there for a second there.
Since we were looking at this one.
Okay, Jeff says Kitsune is the cat and Murakami Genosuke is the Hein.
Interesting, because so the Kitsune is supposed to be a fox demon, so it seems weird that they named a cat Kitsune.
Right.
And Murakami means cloud gatherer. It's like a thunderstorm reference, so that's kind of cool.
Okay.
The Dragon Prince. Thank you, Jeff.
Anyway. Brotherwise, there we go. Alex Canos is watching us and says Brotherwise is the publisher.
Yeah.
So if you want to check out Dragon Prince Brotherwise, this is the way to go.
It's based on an anime.
Okay. Cool. I can definitely see that. It's got that
Alex is
flair to it. Excellent.
So Alex is one of my partners over at Resnova.
Oh, excellent. Very cool.
We will be bringing you more stuff.
Thanks for joining us, Alex. Super cool.
Jeff, I had to get the cards so I could spell the names right. Yeah, Japanese is interesting. It's once you translate it, or not translate it, once you try to write stuff in English, it's almost like Polish names. It's exactly how it sounds is how you write it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have any extra weird like Murakami. It's spelled Mura, M-U-R-A, Kami, K-A-M-I. It's like once you convert it into like the anglicized form, writing this stuff is you're like, oh, it's just like it seems like it should be spelled.
Yep. Excellent. Nice. Okay, and not a board game, but after last week's show, Ben Williams posted a couple of photos from one of his Malifaux games.
I mean, those are great paint jobs.
And hopefully every week somebody will be posting a photo from a Malifaux game in the group, so I can add it to the end here, just so you can see.
Yeah. Cool. We're up to 12 people.
Awesome. So, yeah, as Jake said,
those are great.
They do look fantastic. Beautiful work there, Ben.
I like the fade out on the skeleton dude's robes.
Oh yeah, it's called an ombre.
Oh, you are correct. It is an ombre, actually. There's an awesome hair salon down the street that my wife and I started going to.
Yep.
And it's called Salon Ombre.
Oh, nice.
while we were there, I made a comment to the owner about that. I was like, oh, like, are you going to give my wife an ombre?
Yep.
And she like laughed, and she's like, oh, he knows what that is. And I was, my wife's like, well, yeah, he does painting and stuff, and he works in like the hobby industry. And I was like, well, it's a color term. It's a transition.
Yep.
And she was like, oh yeah. She's like, most people think that we're like a Mexican place, like it's Cafe Ombre. And I'm like, first of all, people are idiots because there should be an H. But...
Exactly. I thought you were going to say that you're going to get an ombre done going from the dark to the gray.
I've had that, but I wouldn't do it now.
Nice. Okay, so we have reached the end of all of the board game minis that folks have posted in the group. These are not board game minis, but I wanted to make sure that we showed them anyway. So yeah, these are some of Scott's Blood Bowl minis.
Dude, that Chaos Dwarf is great.
Yep. And they all.
What is that? What's the little guy on the right?
In there?
The little coppery-looking guy with the teal body armor?
That's a goblin, right?
Is he?
I think it's a goblin, yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's a great mini, though. I like it.
They do look excellent. I love the wild eyes on the skink.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He's like, I'm about to get hammered by a wood elf. There's a war dancer coming right at me.
Run! Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, Scott does lots of like blues and greens and turquoises. Like I love that whole color palette. So.
Yep. That looked fantastic, Scott. Wanted to make sure we included them, even though they aren't board game minis. Technically, I guess.
Sure.
Anyway.
Anyway. All right. What else?
So cool. So yeah, I think we kind of have come to the end of the show.
All right.
We've talked about board games. Talked about board games that we like, things that folks should go and check out, like Stuffed Fables and Bardsung and all that sort of thing. We're seeing some fantastic paint jobs from the group, which is really nice. We'd love to see more paint jobs for every show, so as we can go through and check them all out. I think next week, given that you will have played a game.
That's true.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. That we should perhaps take a look at squads.
Okay.
So everybody can post one squad.
One squad. All right.
Of their favorite squad of whatever game they've painted, whatever game they played. And basically, I think what we'll be talking about is the whole concept of the regular Joe, the regular warrior, the humanity against.
So are we doing one squad, but like a troops choice? So a line unit?
Well, I think you and I think for Horus Heresy would put in a troop choice.
Well, the only reason I'm asking this because like one of my favorite units of all time is the assault squad, but that's a fast attack choice. So, I think to keep it limited because we're going to need other episodes. Let's say that it has to be a line. It has to be a squad of line troops.
The most basic type of troops from that particular army.
Just like basic dudes.
So if it was Eldar, it would be Guardians. If it was
sure.
If we're talking bolt action, it's
it's like GIs
or Marines or the squad of Wehrmacht or something like that.
Yeah.
Radio?
Yeah, like that. We can do that.
Okay, so the basic troop.
Yeah, so a troop choice, the basic line unit of whatever game you want.
Whatever game you want. That sounds like a plan. Hooray.
All right.
And yes, I think Dave Hummel says, "Ooh, I think I can actually do this one."
Yeah, have some dudes.
You're going to struggle to choose one, I think, Dave. And it's going to be Marines, I think, coming from Dave Hummel.
I think we're going to see a lot of Marines. I think I'm willing to bet that we'll see a solid amount of Marines.
Possibly. I think we might see a bunch of other stuff too. But I think it'll be exciting to see a variety of stuff there. But
right on.
We can definitely get into talking about why humans are my favorite sort of species to play in any particular game that has non-human species.
It's because you're a species. It's because you're a species, Dave.
I am a species completely. No, I'm a big fan of the like humanity against the fantastic.
Sure. Yeah. I can get behind that.
Folks have to work together to defend themselves from fantastical, magical
whatever
beings.
horrible things are out there.
Yeah. So generally that's what I like to play. So Imperial Guard, Empire, that kind of thing. So, but yeah, it'll be fun to talk about it. I think it'll be good.
You want to do your
Oh yeah, need to go back. Thank you for reminding me. Need to go back and say, okay, hit like, subscribe. If you got a comment, I know everybody's been throwing all sorts of cool stuff up in the chat here, which is definitely great. But comment on the video below. Let us know what you're enjoying about the show, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of. You probably want to see less of the clutter that I've got here. Maybe you want to see more of the clutter.
Again, I like it. I was telling Dave when we jumped on, like the fact that like the whole screen is basically his paint bottles and then like sprues.
Oh, and I did say that towards the end of the show I would hold these up again.
Yeah, they're great. That human rogue is awesome.
But of course I need to go to the big screen. There we go.
Yeah.
Look, I remembered, Scott. Thank you.
The human rogue looks like
And your Sword of Twilight?
Yeah.
It does. It's very much got that feel.
Dude, I love that model. I had one. I had one. I think I lost it in one of my many moves.
Yep.
But that model ruled.
Yep. It's definitely super cool.
I wish they still made that model. He's so good.
I'll come back to it at some point. I think that was a
it was Mordheim, wasn't he?
It was Mordheim, but I think it was a Brian Nelson sculpt.
Yeah, that model's dope.
Correctly. But yeah, definitely super cool. But yes, as I said, hit like, subscribe, throw in a comment, invite people to the Facebook group, let people know about the show. We're not doing this for money or for funds, or we won't start a Patreon or anything like that. Don't worry. We're not even doing it for ad revenue.
This is just for fun.
Just for fun. But it's, yeah, we want to build up a nice community of folks who are interested in learning about all sorts of stuff to do with the miniature painting, painting, playing hobby, community thing stuff.
Yeah. we want to do an episode in a couple weeks. I want to get Ben on, and Ben wants to just talk about lore. And I was like, yeah, we can do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that'll be fun.
So
do that. We'll have to put some restrictions on so that we're not here for 4 hours. Because I know the three of us can go crazy, but anyway. But yeah, it should be a lot of fun when we do that. But yes. So thanks very much for joining us. We will see you all next week. Goodbye.
Don't drink your paint water, kids.
Oh my goodness.
Shut up and sit down. and sit down.